Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Bradley Hallman here. Really appreciate every one of you being here. Dude, I have got a freaking kick-ass show today. Today we're going to talk about one thing and one thing only. I have come to a lake that's here by my house that I have actually never been on. Never been on this one. As you can see outside my window, the wind is screaming. We're going to talk about one of my very favorite baits to throw in the fall. And I am so dialed in to wanting to throw this bait and so excited to throw it that I basically have been working on my tackle and stuff at the house in the bass cave, and I have taken everything out of my boat. So there is nothing in my boat except this one bait. And I've got 4 of them laying on the deck and a tackle box full of them on a lake that I've never seen. The weather is perfect for it today. It is mid-November, right before Thanksgiving, so maybe some of you guys are watching this while you're in the deer stand. I have no idea what I'm going to catch. I have no idea what lives in this lake. This is a little bitty lake. This is Guthrie City Lake. It's up by the town of Guthrie, just north of Oklahoma City. The wind is howling, and we're going to throw a spinnerbait. And I will tell you every single thing that I know about the blade combinations that I like to use this time of year in the fall with this kind of water temperature that we're probably going to run into today. Somewhere in the mid-50s is my guess. It's a good time of year to catch big ones. So if you guys are in the deer stand, hold on, keep watching, and I'll fire up that GoPro and hopefully we'll get a couple of catches on film, and then we will go over every single little aspect that I'm looking for to bump that lateral line. That's right, bumping that lateral line, cold weather, as the water's cooling off this fall. So you guys hold on. All right, fellas, so here it is. We are on Guthrie City Lake. Let me give you the rundown of the lake for you guys that are around here in Oklahoma. It's my first time here. It's a small lake. There's no wake at all on this lake. Looks like the rules. There is a $7 fee up there at the boat ramp. It's a very nice ramp, facilities, everything's asphalt. There's no dirt roads coming in here, so that's a good deal. I myself don't carry that much. I had a couple $100 bills on me, but that was it. Cash, I didn't have any. So you got all my quarters. I got $6 worth of quarters, and I found one $1 bill. So anyway, bring some cash with you, $7 at the honor box. Let's get to the spinnerbaits. Like I told y'all, just like I promised, nothing but blades laid out here. Single Colorado, double Colorado, some painted with the willows. This is what we call the old Oklahoma blade. And then the double Colorado with a paint on that one too. That's Jason Christie's new spinnerbait. Well, I guess it's a year old, but I haven't thrown it, so I'm gonna give it a try today. Really looking forward to today. Really want those spinnerbait. As you guys can see, the watercolor is very tannish. I wouldn't call it muddy. It's definitely not just straight mud. It's definitely got some clarity to it. It's just right to catch a bass. The wind is howling today. I can't think of a better situation to catch fish on a spinnerbait than in the wind. So we're gonna get after it and see what happens. Hopefully we'll catch a couple bass. If you can hear me in this wind. Change in spinnerbaits. I thought I had a bite, just a little fish, but I thought I had a bite on that willow. I was throwing that willow Colorado. I picked up the double Colorado. It's got that number 5 Hildebrand on it. I sure thought it made that fish bite. And this is the spinnerbait I thought I'd catch them on, but it's the one I started with and I didn't catch them very good. But we'll see what happens. Sucker's on a rock. So all those docks and that fish is sitting up there on a flat. This lake's got some really good rock in it. I did not expect to have the little rock outcroppings that this lake's got, but it's a nice little chunk. 2.5 double Colorado. That's at number 5 Hildebrand. It's without a doubt my favorite blade this time of year. This and then the spring when it gets going, but this water temperature, mid to upper 50s. I love the thump of that number 5 Hildebrand. We'll talk more about that whenever I get out of the wind. Enjoy that deer stand, boys, because they eat that spinnerbait. Same thing. Just kicks it around. One of these little natural rock outcroppings. It's not a man-made spot. Dude, I probably made 4 casts in it from the other direction, maybe 5. Turned around and came back, caught that one. That's a good one right there. Little bitty mouths. They're already getting fat. I mean, here we are mid-November, and I mean, they're putting it on. I noticed this a couple weeks ago. A buddy of mine fished a local tournament here. Got fortunate enough to win it. The fish that we caught like this, big old fat belly. I mean, August and September, skinny fish, long gone and over. So let's try to get another one. There's the first one I've caught off wood today. I have thrown at I don't know how many docks, trees, and stumps, and that is the very first one off wood. It's primarily been a rock today for the better fish. Well, that's a wrap. The wind is blowing like it's probably gusting 20, 25, maybe even some up to 30. So we'll go over all the techniques or all the baits, the spinner baits and stuff, and the different tributes to them when I get back to the house. It's not far from here, and I'll shoot it in the garage without all the wind. So guys, hold on. All right, back in here where I can hear myself think without not being in all that wind. I'll cover this, go over all these baits and techniques that we used on the spinnerbait today. I'm gonna start with the one that I caught my fish on today primarily. Let me just lay this thing out here. This is basically double Colorado. It's got a little Indiana in the front. I'm throwing this on braid. That's a 35 or 40 pound braid. I throw my spinner baits on braid a lot, primarily because of the way that I roll cast. I tend to twist line, and the braid has no memory, and so therefore I don't get line twist as much. But there are times whenever I'm fishing clear water, I know pre-spawn like at Grand and stuff around docks, whenever I'm fishing for suspended fish, I generally do throw fluorocarbon, so I have to have 2 or 3 rods laying on my deck just because the line gets twisted so bad on me during the day, just because of the way I cast. I think that it's an uncommon issue. Most of the guys I talk to don't have that issue, but I like braid around wood. Anytime I'm fishing shallow, I like it. Also like it because of the feel. Anytime I'm throwing Colorado blades, it's a big deal to me to be able to feel that thump, and it allows me to do this. This is a big deal right here. If you can see this right here, I'm gonna zoom in. That's a Hildebrand number 5. All the years that I've been fishing, I don't know what it is about Hildebrand blades, but especially with Colorado blades, not so much with the Willows, but dude, it makes a difference. And I don't know if it's because they're a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, but the vibration that they put off is the one. And the number 5 has really been my favorite for a long time. I'll throw it a single Colorado as it gets colder. I throw it with a tandem like that with an Indiana or another Colorado in front of it. But I really do like the Hildebrand blades. They do tend to get more bites. I have one of Jason's baits here. This is one of Jason Christie's project baits that he makes with Booyah. I just bought a couple of these on the shelf. Get you guys a good look at it here. He's actually got a Hildebrand on this one as well. This is a 4.5 Colorado Hildebrandt. And I know that he included that Hildebrandt because the same reason that I like the blade. Booyah could put any blade they wanted on it. And I know with him wanting to make a signature series spinnerbait, that had to be a big part of it. He's also got colored heads and different things, but I like this blade. I threw it a lot. I like the wire size. It's a light wire, gives off a good thump. I like the spinnerbait. I didn't throw it as much today because that 4.5 just doesn't thump quite as much as that 5 does, and I like the feel of the 5. And I haven't talked to him about it, so I don't know why, or even if maybe you can get them with 5s on them. I don't know. This spinnerbait right here is one that I got bid on first. This is really my go-to spinnerbait. That's a 4.5 Willow with a red Colorado kicker in front of it. This is a War Eagle spinnerbait. War Eagle's got a light wire. And I've just caught a lot of fish on this spinnerbait through the years. A lot of the tournament fishermen, you'll notice most of them seem to be throwing War Eagle spinnerbaits. The guys that are really throw one a lot. And then we went over that one. The one that we haven't touched yet was the one that I probably threw the least today, just because of the fact that it's just not cold enough yet. But the single Colorado spinnerbait, and that is a 4.5 on that. I will throw that with a 4.5 or a 5. I mean, dude, I'll even go up to a 6 or 7 if the water gets dirty enough and I feel like that I want to slow my bait down quite a bit. I love a single Colorado spinnerbait. Once that time of year gets here, that it's cold, I've got some watercolor. There's nothing that hits a lateral line like a single Colorado. The reason for the Colorado blades this time of year, as water starts cooling off, I know for a fact that those bass, for whatever reason, they feed more with their lateral line. And what I mean by that is the lateral line down their side. They feed off the vibration. And so that's why you start seeing the Colorado blades and things that thump. Quite honestly, that number 5 is about the same thump. Man, maybe the 4.5. The 4.5 or the 5, either one, are about the same thump as a chatterbait. And that's what those fish are using. As opposed to when the water gets warmer in the year, they're using their side a lot. And I know that that's the reason that I like that Colorado so much, or they like that Colorado so much once the water gets cold, is because they stop feeding with their eyesight quite so much. Like when they were using the willow blades and stuff in the summertime when it's warmer, it puts off a lot of flash. They're feeding from sight. As the water starts getting cooler, I seem to get a lot more bites off the Colorado blade because of the vibration. And I know that's what it is. Even in clear water situations, same thing. I mean, we throw spinnerbaits in clear water when it's cold that are the most bright, god-awful looking chartreuse and white, giant blades, thumping, stuff that you would never get a bite on once the water temperature gets above 65. Like, they're not eating it. So it's got to do with their eyesight not being quite as good, or they're just not using it as much, and they feed more with their lateral line, more off vibration. So I know that that's fact of all the years that I've thrown spinnerbait, but I do throw braid. I do throw fluorocarbon. I told you why. I like the braid. I like the feel. I like to feel that thump of that blade coming through the water. Sometimes the bite's real subtle. You'll just feel the blade kind of stop. And if you don't set the hook, you're not going to catch that fish. A braid allows me to feel every single bit of it. Also, my line twists with my cast. But I do use fluorocarbon. I mean, there are times where I feel like the water's clear enough, especially when I'm fishing around suspended stuff, if it's floating docks and I feel like the bass are suspended and they're feeding up, I don't like the braid as much. But if I'm fishing around any type of cover, wood, rock, or anything like that, I definitely want to use the braid. One of the weird things that happened today, and I don't know why, but part of that lake, and I don't think that Guthrie City Lake is like some magical lake fork or anything. We had a decent day there. Caught 4 or 5 bass, a couple of nice ones, just in a few hours that I was out there. The best looking part for this time of year of that lake was the dam. There was a lot of man-made rock, concrete had been dumped on it, just to kind of shore it up, and had a lot of moss and stuff. It'd been in there a long time. And you've got this really steep drop, like right next to the dam. And I fished it twice. And it's pretty long. I mean, it's almost a mile long, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. It's long. And I fished it twice and never had a bite. That should be the best place on that lake right now. The one thing that I know was the wind was out of the north today because we got a front coming through. And the wind wasn't really blowing right on it. So It was my first time there. I want to go back, but I will make sure next time I go back this winter, I go back with a south wind. So we'll get some days where it warms up and the sun comes out and we'll get a south breeze, because that dam should have been dynamite and it wasn't. Like I say, I fished it twice. The few good bites I had did come off rock. I fished a lot of wood and a lot of docks today. It wasn't very successful, so rock was definitely the deal. I like that lake. It's got a lot of cool rock outcroppings. It'd be a great place to go jerkbait fish as it gets colder, and also a really good place to jig fish. I mean, there's some really good stuff that sticks out offshore. Between it and Liberty Lake, which is kind of a sister lake to it, and I've been to Liberty a couple times. I went last year and crappie fished in it, but I had never been to Guthrie City Lake. I really like Guthrie better, but I don't know if the fishing's better in it or not. It appears to me that it should be, just because it looks like that north end's got an arm in it that doesn't have a lot of silt or anything, and it looks like it's got some really good spawning habitat in it. A lot of docks and stuff around where the houses are built around the lake, and some of those people up there definitely are brushing and doing things like that to create fish habitat. So to me, I like that lake better, but definitely want to go back. Like I say, it's not a hammer hole. I'm fishing it in November. I'm sure if you show up in March or April, it's quite a bit better than it was for me today. So we're going to give it a few more shots, and I've got some more small lakes around here. It's what I really like to do, is fish some of these lakes around here, especially ones that I haven't seen. We're blessed to have a lot of those city lakes here in Oklahoma. It makes it fun, easy to go out on. Like this one today, it was no wake lake, so all I did was idle around and use my trolling motor, so you can really check out a lake pretty quick. Guys, if it's your first time here, bump that like, please bump that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And until next time, I'm out of here.